Hey guys, Zach's GT Garage here. If you recently saw my recent update video about the Escort and the Mustang, you'll see towards the end of the video that I got another vehicle. And I also made a short about this as well. And I asked you guys to leave in the comments to see if you guys could guess and see what it would be. And I'm going to reveal it to you right here, right now. A Ford Ranchero. So this is my 1964 Ford Ranchero. It's got the Ford Falcon front end, and it's a 3-speed on the tree. And this is just such an awesome car. I love it. It is so much fun to drive. And I'm super excited to do more stuff and restore this car and take you along the journey as I restore it. I've already taken it to a few car shows, and a lot of people like it, and everybody I run into with the car, they always give me a thumbs up, and it's all such a joy to run into people with their stories about these cars. Now here, as we lift the hood up, it is powered by a 170 cubic inch inline 6, which is a 2.8 liter. And it's a fun cruiser. It's not fast, it's just a fun cruiser. And as we look under the air cleaner here, it's got a 1-barrel Holley carburetor. But it's got 3 aftermarket gauges, and the previous owner put an alternator in it and took the old generator out. And it's a pretty good car. I'm pretty happy with it. Even though it's 60 years old, it does need some attention on quite a few things, like questionable wiring. You can see they got 5x9 or 6x9 speakers back there because the previous owner also put in the retro radio, which, if you don't know what that is, it's an old classic radio that connects to Bluetooth and FM and connect with your phone, and it looks factory like the stock AM radio. So let's go ahead and start her up.
Down the street in my 6'4".
So here's just a little short history on the Ford Ranchero. So the Ford Ranchero ran from 1957 till 1979, and this first body style was based on the Ford 2-door station wagon. And these cars can carry about 850 pounds in the bed. And this first generation, they did from 1957 to 1959. The second generation was the Ford Falcon that ran from 1960 to 1965. Then after that, it was the Ford Fairlane, and then the Torino, and then I believe the last 7th generation was the LTD. And the other car you might be thinking like this is the Chevy El Camino. This is the first generation Chevy El Camino. They started in 1959. Ford already had the Ranchero out for 2 years once Chevrolet introduced the El Camino. These are one of my favorite body styles. And this body style ran from 1959 to 1960, and then Chevy didn't come back out with the El Camino till about 1964, and they ran up until 1987. Now this is the picture I took of the car once I came to get it. Actually had the original California plates on it. This car is an original California car, which I thought was really, really cool and would explain how the car is still in such good shape it is for being 60 years old. And it looks like it has been pretty well taken care of most of its life anyway too. So that's a bonus. But isn't that such a cool looking cluster? But I have had such a blast with this car. I have taken it to work with me so many times and ran so many errands with it just because it's such a joy to bring out. Now, this was the first car show I brought it to. It was just down the street from my house, and I parked it next to a pink 1964 Ford Mustang with the 200 cubic inch inline 6 and a 3-speed on the floor. And also this Chevy Bel Air. I love the gasser style hot rods from back in the day. I think they just look so freaking cool. And I never did find the owner, but he had this built pretty well and was looking good. Can't beat a good night drive with that stock factory cluster. So this is something I have done to the car, is the gas gauge didn't work ever since I got it, and I thought maybe it was just like a bad sending unit. So I did some diagnostics and come to find out that the wire that plugs into the sending unit wasn't getting any power at all. So then I went up to the cluster and I did a diagnostic and come to find out it was getting 12 volts to the voltage regulator, which is what this is in my hand, and it wasn't sending any power out to the gauges because this voltage regulator, it runs to the gas gauge and the temperature gauge. So a little bit about this voltage regulator is the way it works is Ford figured out this early on, but if you just supply 12 volts to the gauges, what will happen is when you turn one way, it'll go all the way to empty. And then if you turn all the way to the right, it'll go to full no matter where it's at until it kind of levels out smoothly. But Ford figured out early on that if they get this voltage regulator and limit it down to, I think, 5 volts, it gives more of an accurate reading of how much gas is in the tank versus the needle always moving every time you turn any way. So that way you can get a good idea all the time how much gas is in the tank. But anyway, if you take on an older vehicle like this, if you take the wire that goes onto the sending unit and you put, let's say, a light tester on it, it's going to have kind of like a pulse where it goes dim to bright, a good pulse like that, indicating that, the cluster and the voltage regulator is working properly. So anyway, ended up getting a new voltage regulator. Sorry, that was quite a bit of information, but I think it's pretty cool information to learn and know about. But anyway, after I did that, my gas gauge works now, which tells me the sending unit is still good, which is really awesome. Then one night, my wife and I decided we just wanted to get out of the house and just go for a little nice night drive. And it wasn't too cold and it still wasn't hot, so we decided just to roll the windows down, hop in the Ranchero, and just take a drive. Because at this point, I had just finished replacing the voltage regulator, and also I noticed that there were some wires under the dash that were unplugged, so I plugged some of those back in, and now I have working signal lights and brake lights, so that's always good. Then we made a little stop on the way on our drive to Maverick to get some drinks and snacks. And then another time, I don't remember when, if it was the next day or whatever, but took the car to get a drink at Maverick after I was coming home from work. And this big family got out of this big van that you can somewhat see in the picture off to the right. And most of them came in, and this one guy was just like taking pictures, looking at the car, and I just thought it was so cool that so many other people think these old cars are still pretty cool, because they are. I mean, a Ranchero and the Chevy El Camino, not everybody likes them, which is completely fine. I think they're cool, and at the end of the day, it's your car with whatever you're doing. Don't let other people tell you how to build your own car. Build it for how you want it. It's always cool to ask other people for their advice on if it was their car, what would they do to it, or what would they change about this? Would they keep it this way, or whatever the case may be. But build it for you. And what I'm going to do with this car is I'm going to try and film everything I do to it, but it's going to stay stock. I'm going to keep the factory inline 6. I'm going to keep it a 3-speed on the tree, and I will like to get different wheels for it. I don't know if I'm going to get stock hubcaps for it if I can find them, but what I'm going to plan to do with it so far is I have my eyes on the old classic Krager SS wheels for it. I think those will look really nice. I don't know if Krager still has 4-lug Krager SS wheels or if they made any. I know a lot of them are 5-lug, so if I do that, I'll most likely have to do a 5-lug conversion along with getting the new wheels and tires. But I do like the old American Racing slot mag 4-lug wheels. I think those would look pretty nice on them too. Let me know what you think in the comments, and when I start doing stuff on it, you'll see this on a future episode of Zach's GT Garage. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you'd like, and we'll see you guys next time for more Mustang and Escort GT content.